What anchors in your shame? This is a good thing to get out a pad, get out a piece of paper, and brainstorm this. And think of what are the things that anchor in your shame. The beliefs, the other emotions that you're suppressing. Because here's the thing about shame. For one thing, without ego, there could be no shame. Okay? So shame is a function of the ego. It is a dysfunction of the ego, but it is an ego event when you feel shame. Right? If you didn't have an ego, if you were fully enlightened, it would be impossible to feel shame because there'd be no ego identification to hold that shame in. Okay? So shame is not natural. Shame is a learned emotional response. And if we don't work really hard on clearing that root shame, then it's going to set a limit for us on what we can manifest in our lives. And so I urge you to think, for example, what role does guilt have? Guilt and shame are very related. They almost seem synonymous at times. Notice what you feel guilty about. And notice the tiny little things, right, that as you go through your day and you feel little pangs of guilt about something. And it could just be like you see somebody less fortunate and you feel guilty. You laugh at something and you feel guilty, right? Anything. Notice where you have the guilt and notice where you have the shame. We all have a primal shame. I mean, it goes back to the Bible. So Western civilization is founded on this idea of it basically started with guilt and shame. I ate the apple and I'm guilty and I'm ashamed of myself. That's kind of the foundation. Oh, now we're out in the garden and out of the garden and history begins. So, and if we think about it, if we think about indigenous people that are pretty much naked a lot of times living in nature, depending on the climate, obviously, and the different rules around sexuality, nudity, various things. And we contrast that with the legacy of the monotheistic religions of the West and the sexual shame that accompanies it. Then we can understand to some degree that the natural state that some see as evil, not me, the natural state is kind of the opposite of the world created by first Judaism, then Christianity, and finally adding Islam to the mix. And the impact through colonialism and imperialism that spread these things, which are not solely Western attributes, but spread them throughout the world, and brought shame and brought ideas of shame that did not previously exist in certain cultures. it's like an infection. And the thing is, why do we need to clear shame? Because shame is an implosion of our energy rather than the explosion of energy that feels good, creative, childlike, joyful. Right? Shame pulls you into yourself, makes you very self-absorbed, and distorts everything. Distorts your emotions, distorts your thoughts. Completely cuts you off from intuitive knowing. How can you have intuition, or even, in a way, think there is such a thing, if you doubt yourself and indulge in shame on a regular basis? Think of what anchors in that shame. So there's guilt. That would be the negative side, let's say. That would be the, well, not negative. Guilt is more from action. Like, I did something wrong. Now here's the other side of shame. Impotence. No, it doesn't mean go get Viagra. That's not the type of impotence I mean. I mean the impotence of being weak and not being able to do certain things. So impotence might not be the right word, but it's not totally the wrong word. There is that feeling that we all had as a kid of, I'm not good enough, I can't reach it, I can't lift it, I can't open that door, right? All the things you couldn't do as a kid that everybody bigger than you could do. I can't drive a car, I can't whatever. And the thing is, you weren't supposed to be able to do all that stuff when you're 3, 4, 5 years old. You weren't supposed to have lost your virginity by the age of 11, whatever, right? Maybe you wanted to. I did. Oversharing. But, there's that feeling of weakness that also roots in our shame. That feeling of, I'm not good enough. So the guilt side of it is, I'm bad. And that's, I do bad things, I say bad things, I hurt people, I get in trouble, I shame my parents, whatever. And then there's the other side of it where it is, I'm not good enough, I can't do anything right. I always make mistakes, I fail, and all of those things. And we need to clear both of those out. We need to clear out the I'm bad as well as the I'm not good enough. Clear out that shame residue and come into a place of self-love. And only then can we even get started on what we're here to do. So, as I said, I would recommend jotting down, brainstorming, everything you can think of that roots in your shame, that grounds you in your shame and traps you in that shame. Write those things down and then do whatever you need to do. Find an energy healer like me, andysway.com, or somebody else, somebody you might already be working with, and go through those things on the list and heal them. Do some real transformative work. If you don't have access to somebody like that, then research those things. Read books. Do the self-help thing. You can do plenty on your own. It's good to have a guide, but if you don't have a guide, that's no excuse for inaction. So it's really important to pull these roots of shame out all the way. And, there's even that aspect of shame where we think we need to hold on to the shame because we'll be really bad without it. Like the shame keeps us in check. I think that's another thing to let go of. So, what roots in your shame? Think about it. Find those anchors to your shame. And then systematically deconstruct them. Emotionally, in the realm of belief, in all areas you find them, deconstruct them. We need to be shameless. Shamelessness, not as a sociopath, psychopath, but as somebody who's not sick, because shame is a sickness and it blocks the divine essence that is your true self. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications for future videos. And if you want to leave a comment, I'd be really happy. Feel free to suggest ideas for other videos as well. Thanks a lot. Bye.